Bum, 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 bum. We are ready. So let's go ahead and kick this off. I know I'm a few minutes early, so I may not have everybody here yet, but it felt kind of silly just sitting here waiting a few extra minutes before going live. So I hit the live button or the go live now button. Let's switch screens real quick and we're going to come over here. Buddy, hey. My cat's like trying to squeeze his butt into the printer, which is not great. Let me get him. Baba, no, let's not do that. Okay, I've got my cat. I'm not hurting him, I promise. He's just, buddy, you gotta let go. You gotta let go. There we go. Yay, working on flats right now, says Artbreaker. That is awesome. I'm so excited. Yeah, we are... Artbreaker's my colorist, by the way, for anybody watching this now or watching the playback. We are going to talk about the rules today, and we're going to talk about some drama that has been happening around this webtoon contest. I wish we didn't have to, but we really, really need to, because things are getting scary out there, and I just think for everybody's sake, we should go over a few things. Polka Latte, hello, printer cat needs ink. It does. He's trying to squeeze himself in there. Cats, you know how they are. If I fits, I sits, and they really do think they are liquid, so he tried to pour himself into the printer. It wasn't working. And now he's mad at me, so he's going to take off because I took him off the printer. Hello, good to see you. I'm glad you made it. All right. So nothing new here. We're looking at the Webtoon 2025 contest banner. Oh, wow, my mouse is going to fight me like the whole way today. Just know it. I had to change my arrangement, my setup a little bit, but that's neither here nor there, other than the fact that I'm just saying as a disclaimer now that my monitors have moved and me pulling my mouse from one to the other is like just, it's a new pathway and it's going to take some getting used to. We have to go back one tab today. We're going to go back one tab to the overview tab. We're going to leave submissions alone for a second because today it's all about refresh the rules, to refresh the rules in our mind, to revisit what some of that legal jargon may have meant and kind of review what's been happening in the Webtoon Canvas space around this. And I have screenshots, okay? I came with receipts. So we're going to talk about it. Before we actually go in here and start reading the literal rules and getting into all that dryness, I want us to know what it is that we're looking for. So we're first going to talk about, I might have passed it, actually. We're first going to talk about the receipts, okay? We're going to first look at some screenshots, and then we're going to go in here to these official rules for full eligibility criteria. And we're going to talk about how to read these, how to understand them. And let me first put a disclaimer out there while we're getting into this, and I'll probably repeat it again when more people join the stream, just to make sure it's super clear. I am not a lawyer. My sister-in-law is, but I am not. I am not a lawyer, and I have not consulted her on this. If it gets to a point where I need to, I obviously would, but in the meantime, you're just getting this from my brain power and my understanding and all of that. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of things. First and foremost, I kind of want to introduce how this was brought to my attention. Oh my gosh, there's another cat on the printer and they just turned it on. Buddy, stop it. What is it with you guys and sitting on the printer? Is it warm? Does it feel good? Why are they all trying to fight to sit on the printer? I don't understand what's happening right now. Right, we were going to talk about how this first came to my attention, and to do that, I'm going to bring up a screenshot. And let me go ahead and bring my window previewer thing in here so we can do this. So first and foremost, I received this update over Discord, you guys. Discord is such a great place to get in touch with people, to receive valuable information from your community, and to stay up to date on what is happening in the art world and in the webtoon world, in the webcomic space. So let's go ahead and take a look at what was brought to my attention. And I apologize if I've cut off any names. It was not intentional. It was not to like not give people credit, but I just tried to screenshot as much as I could fit on my screen in one slice, okay? So very first off the top, just be very careful. Another person had their episode taken down for cursing that was included, so careful of that also. Now that also is in relation to another thing we're going to talk about, which is the dreaded edit button on Webtoon. And I will literally break this down piece by piece. I know we're kind of like coming out of left field right now, hitting the ground running on this topic, but bear with me, I will make it make sense. As soon as I take off the sweater, because now I'm burning up. I honestly, if I sound a little bit frazzled, it is because I honestly am so nervous about covering this topic. I'm so nervous. I feel like this is the first controversial thing I've ever talked about on my channel. And I gotta tell you, it is not for me. The whole like covering drama and like, I don't know, like it's just, whew, I don't know how people do it. It's not exhausting, but it's nerve-wracking. But let's get back to it. Two things that I want to bring out of this screenshot here, out of this screen grab, is one, don't put cursing, do not put nudity in your contest entry. Those two things, no go. I know that, and this is where it's confusing, I know that the little drop down like there's like a survey, right, that you fill out as a creator. You fill out a survey when you were creating. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna show you guys. We're just gonna do this, okay? Let's go. Here we go to Webtoon. We're gonna open this in a separate tab so that I can just do this, okay? We're gonna pretend like we're creating a new series, all right? This part right here, the content rating self-assessment. I know that it will let you select like comedic nudity with strategic centering, some characters in minimal clothing, non-sexual, no nudity, or even fan service. I think I might have even selected this one, to be honest. Fan service, minimal clothing, or suggestive themes. Only because I think at like the end of my series, I might do some like fan service panels or like further into it once I'm more comfortable and I know my audience. But I definitely don't see this really happening early on in my series. But I still selected it because I did not know if this was just for like a rating for your first three episodes, or if it was like for the series. I just assume it's for the series. So I filled it out like this. But then I've been hearing, if you're going to put, what is it called when it's like implied, if you're going to put implied nudity in your Webtoon, even though you've filled this out and you acknowledged your content rating and you created the series and you submitted the series and they accepted it, they did not reject your series for the contest when you filled in this bubble, when you filled in this answer. What we're hearing now is that you could be disqualified for putting those implied nude panels in your series. Profanity. We've heard that somebody who had a cuss word, the F-bomb, in their series had, and again, I'm saying we hear, and I'm going to start bringing up receipts, like I said, where I'm hearing it from, but I'm getting it secondhand, first of all. For this part that I'm putting out right now, secondhand knowledge, all right? But I'm saying, if you're going to submit a chapter and you want to be able to do, like, implied nudity or censored nudity, or if you want to be able to do, like, censored or uncensored profanity, maybe save it for further down the road in your series. Don't put it here in your contest chapters, okay? Because we are now hearing that people are being literally like removed from the contest for this. Even though you can click right here, profanity select uncensored profanity throughout the series, and then hit I acknowledge, and then submit the series, and it will still accept it. You can still submit it with these things filled in. That does not mean that it's compliant with the rules. Hello, Ishan. Hi, how are you? What are you doing? We are going over the rules and the FAQ for this contest, the Webtoon 2025 Webcomic Legends contest. And we're going to start looking at some of the roadblocks that people have been running into and some of the responses they have gotten from Webtoon themselves, because it has been a very interesting first weekend, I would say, on Webtoon. Like the first week, Monday through Friday, felt like it was just, I don't know, it was just like a steam train, right? It just like took off. Everybody was uploading. Everybody was doing great. We were like looking at everybody's entries. I felt like after observing some people submitting that it was safe for me to submit. So then I did on Friday instead of Monday. So I gave it a good 5 days. I'm feeling now like I should have waited longer, because now over the weekend we've started unearthing all these issues that people are having where they might be disqualified entirely after putting months of work into their entries because of some of these issues. So let's talk about another one. Let's talk about another issue that has come up. So my question here, you can totally see my shock and surprise when this was brought to my attention. I said, wait, so every single person who put up episode 1 only so far is disqualified. You have to submit it all at once was my question. Because the original remark had been that if you edit your submission, any editing or adding to or resubmitting at all is grounds for disqualification. And I was like, crap, does that mean I'm going to be disqualified? Because I only submitted, is everybody who only submitted 1 episode at a time disqualified? And, Jay here said, no, I don't think that's what that means. It's just if you use the edit button. So we're going to go back and we're going to take a look at what that means, what it means to use the edit button. And I will demonstrate for you to the best of my ability without actually locking myself into a voluntary DQ, okay? But yeah, so, and you need to make I'm gonna ignore this part right here from being on it real quick, because we are gonna look at that screenshot, so I don't think we need to get this comment here when we can look at the screenshot itself. But basically, my personal opinion of this, and again, I'm not a lawyer, my personal opinion of this is that the editing rule, I'm like finger air quoting rule here, the editing rule is not explicitly, and I've seen all over Reddit people saying, no, it's explicitly in the rules. It is not explicitly in the rules, my personal opinion. The rules do not explicitly state that you will be disqualified for editing your submission. Where that is explicitly stated is in the FAQ. And I'm going to show you both in a minute, okay? The FAQ explicitly states that if you edit your submission or your entry after submitting it, you may be disqualified at their discretion. And I think that just means if they consider what you did, the edits you made, appropriate grounds for disqualification. So I do believe that Webtoon themselves are trying to be reasonable here. I think that they are going to look at this from a place of, have you violated or have you done something that was in poor sportsmanship? Did you submit your chapter early and unfinished so that you could farm a bunch of early views and early likes and stuff, early subscribers, and then go back and update it with the fully finished artwork? In that case, it might be considered poor sportsmanship and they might disqualify you for that. That's just an example off the top of my head of what I think they're looking for, what I think they're trying to prevent people from doing. Hello, Taltalo. Oh no, I have censored profanity and comedic censored nudity in my entry. This worries me. Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit concerned about how this news is kind of coming to our attention more than a week into entries being submitted. Because if we look at the submission page, if we look at the submission page, we're going to see that there, oh gosh, what was it? Was it 52? Yeah, leave this. I'm not actually submitting anything. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom. There's 52 pages of entries now after week 1. We're technically on today's, what is today? Thursday, Friday. So I think it's Friday. It's Friday. So it's basically been like almost 2 weeks. We went from it's been 2 work weeks, okay? If we need to count the full 7-day weeks, then no, it hasn't been 2 full weeks, but it's been 2 full work weeks, if that makes sense. Yeah. Sorry, but you yap too much. I'm so sorry about that. But it is a one-way conversation for the most part. I'm trying to read chat to make it a 2-way conversation. But ultimately, I need to carry the conversation as the streamer. And it's not scripted. So if it takes me a minute to get to where I'm trying to get to as I'm working through my thoughts, I apologize. This is not scripted. I did come with receipts. I did come with talking points, but I did not come with a script. So let's go ahead and look at the next screenshot, the next receipt that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. That was the same one. So, whoops. Very quickly, I do want to bring up some screenshots I grabbed from Reddit. And I know that this is going to be kind of hard to read in some cases. I'm actually going to start with the second one. So here we have the question about editing, because that other one that I pulled up first is not about editing. That's a whole nother thing. I come to Perry for all my legal advice is Pocolazzi. Please don't. Please get a second opinion. Please get a second opinion if you're looking for legal advice. I am just giving you my my super obsessive, hyper-focused opinion on things that I overthink. I'm an overthinker. That is the best I can offer. So Webtoon contest entry editing. So this has not just been in Discord. People have been talking about it on Reddit. I think the person who brought it up in Discord first originally saw this in Reddit, and that's when they brought the conversation to Discord. Or no, actually, I do remember they saw it in another Discord where they were discussing Reddit, and then they shared that information. They shared the wealth. So here is somebody asking about the whole editing issue in Reddit. And if we scroll past this ad, we can see people were responding. And the first response says, "I'm not sure. I edited my entry and didn't receive a penalty." I don't think that they're going to send you a penalty. You're not going to get a notice. I think if that was the case, it would have to be automated, and it doesn't seem like they have set up any kind of guardrails systematically on the app to prevent us from making mistakes. Just like I said, when you're filling out that survey to get your content rating, it doesn't prevent you from selecting content rating material that might make you ineligible. It doesn't prevent you, once you've submitted your entry, from clicking the edit button. So if those guardrails existed, I don't think they would even need to send us a penalty, because they would have already created the features that would stop us from making those mistakes in the first place, if that makes sense. This person who also answered said in the rules, it specifically states that if you edit after submitting it all, you will be disqualified. The reason why I screenshotted this, because I want to contest this. I don't think that this person, and no offense to Hadley at all, no offense at all to you, and I hope that if anybody knows this person, don't go, point a finger at them and shout you're wrong or make them feel bad. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I might be wrong, so take that with a grain of salt. But I'm gonna show you the rules, and I'm gonna show you why I'm about to say what I'm gonna say. I do not think Hadley is giving good advice here, because it does not specifically state in the rules that if you edit your submission at all, you will be disqualified. It doesn't use that language whatsoever, and I will show you in a second. Secondly, where it does say that in the FAQ, it also does not say you will be disqualified. It says you might be. They leave room for nuance, and this is so important. And I think that it's really important to put this out there because it's so unfair to the creators who have already made these mistakes to lose hope that they've put months of work into their entries, and then all of a sudden they're now sitting here worried about, well, did I do all of this for nothing? Should I give up now? Should I stop working on my contest entry? Should I just throw in the towel? No, I'm not saying throw in the towel. And I think that that could be the wrong message that we're getting from these overly confident answers from folks who are saying, yeah, you made that mistake and you're absolutely going to get disqualified. I don't think that's true. And somebody else who also doesn't think that's true is the winner from the 2022 Webtoon contest. Oops, wrong. Right. I was like so confident when I clicked on that. I clicked on the wrong one. This person, okay? So this person writes, I don't know if this helps or not, but in 2022, I was selected by Webtoons for some sort of award thing they had going on. And the first step was nominating from the public to see who would get to the voting, who would go to the voting stage. It was weird because they already selected stories but that you can nominate. But the first thing I did was vote for myself, and then I asked my readers to do so. Then I read the rules, and it said basically you're disqualified if you vote for yourself. So I was sad and accepted that I was disqualified. After the voting closed, I got an email from Webtoons saying that I got enough votes to get to the next round, but was disqualified because I nominated myself. But if I forfeited my vote for myself, that they would get me in. So the reason why I bring this up, and I think the reason why it was so important for this creator to share this information. Hi, Jay. Good to see you. I'm glad you were able to make it. The reason why this kind of information and this experience being shared by this creator, who I'm so grateful that they shared it, is valuable is because it shows that there is nuance. It is not a hard and fast rule. Webtoon understands that some technical, like if you were like some technicalities should be more fluid, should be more flexible. And this is an example of that we can really peg down as this, yes, this happened. This person made a technical error. They technically were disqualified, but Webtoon was able in their best judgment to determine that that was like not necessarily worth eliminating them for. This other one that I pulled up is a comment that was made on Indy Burns' video, and I'm going to show you real quick the thumbnail for that video, okay? If you haven't watched this already, it's in my Discord channel, and I will add it to the description of this video after I'm done with this stream so that you can go watch it. But basically, Indy Burn made a video talking about their experience discovering a little too late about the no edit rule, and just talking with Webtoon staff and trying to figure out whether that meant that they were like for sure disqualified or not, if they still had a chance or not. Okay, and this was a really good video, and that led me to the comments section because I wanted to see what was happening with other people and what other people's experiences were. And we got this question, or this response from Isabella, who said, I committed a similar mistake about talking about editing. I uploaded my comic with the title plus Webtoon 2025 contest entry in parentheses and changed it after submitting my story to put only the title. They also sent an email, Isabella also sent an email and received a reply from Marcus, and I'll show you who Marcus is in a second. And Marcus told Isabella it wasn't a big deal since she made the change very quickly during the first day of submissions, but that she couldn't make any more changes on her episode because it was totally forbidden. Those are Isabella's words. She asked again if she could change her thumbnail or summary, and they told her, quote, it could affect negatively, but never mentioned being disqualified. So again, this all leads back to the fact that in the FAQ, it says it's a disqualifier, but that they use the language very, very specifically you may be disqualified and at Webtoon's discretion. And we're going to see that language again. Because this definitely allows room for nuance. I think that's so important to keep in mind that if you've already made one of these mistakes, you're not out of the game quite yet. You still have the opportunity to win this thing, so long as at their discretion, in their best judgment of your behavior, were you acting in a way that was mean-spirited, or that you are trying to game the system in some way, in which case they may feel that it is absolutely appropriate to disqualify you, or they may not, based on, you know, the fact that it just wasn't really transformative, it wasn't a big deal. And so now I think it's really important to look at some of the actual I forgot that I wanted to mention Marcus. Jay says, yeah, it feels hard to believe that they will DQ potential winners just because of a slight edit. Yeah, I agree. So really quickly, I'm just going to run us through a couple screenshots. These screenshots came from that video by Indy Byrne that I showed you earlier, and I'm taking these completely out of the context of her video. She will explain way better than I will, because I do not want to steal her thunder, way better than I will about her entire experience. So I do recommend you go and watch it after the stream. But basically, she did the honorable thing, in my opinion. She deserves extreme kudos for this. She was very honorable about it. She reached out to them. She identified herself and her mistake. And she made a really bold move and was being super vulnerable with them. And she said, hey, I recently corrected a typo in my comic and synopsis that was already up for the contest. Am I disqualified? Thank you for your help. And they responded. And this is where the whole Marcus thing came in from that earlier comment. And Marcus said, thanks for reaching out. Making any edits to series, including fixing grammar mistakes during the period, is against the rules and can lead to disqualification. Going forward, do not make any changes to your submissions. She wanted clarification. She said, because Marcus did say going forward. So that implies, like, you're still eligible, right? Thank you, Marcus, for the reply. Sorry to be annoying, but it's not clear to me if I'm disqualified. And Marcus replies once more. Thanks again for reaching out. This time we cannot verify or deny if your series has been disqualified until the end of the first submission period. Okay, so this is kind of the answer that people are getting from Webtoons. If you reach out to Webtoon, you identify a problem, you're saying, hey, I just want to check and see if I'm still eligible. They may or may not. I mean, they're most likely not going to say definitively if you're DQ'd or not. I think that that's just to protect themselves legally, but they're not definitively going to tell you whether or not you're DQ'd. And here's just another screenshot. This is the one that was we were talking about in the Discord post that I very first brought up at the beginning of the stream. And this is a snapshot of the official rules. Now, this is the language I was talking about in between some of those screenshots we looked at. And here's some of the things I really want to nitpick, you know. So the official rules state the following. No substitutions or new versions of initial submissions will be accepted once the initial submission is submitted for consideration. You can look at the entire block of text there, but that first sentence is basically the meat and potatoes of it. Nowhere in here does it explicitly say, don't edit, don't update. But what it does say is no substitutes and no new versions. That, to me, sounds like you cannot make any kind of substantiated changes to your content. So, like I had mentioned earlier, a good example of making a substantial change to your content, creating a substitution or a new version, would be something like submitting an incomplete chapter just to get in front of people early, and then later refining and then updating it with the more complete content. Another example of this, that's like gaming the system, right? Another example of this would be something like submitting content, thinking like, oh, I'm going to submit to this genre. The early version that I submit, just so that judges can read it and know that I followed the rules and everything, has, it's completely acquiescing to the contest rules and placates to what they're looking for. But then I'm going to later slip in changes and make it more risque, or make it off genre or off topic, or completely change maybe the plot or something. Something like that would be considered like a substitution. Something like what I said to begin with, where you put up an incomplete version and then you polish it and then you replace it, that would be considered a new version. That is what this actual language in the official rules sounds like to me. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but that is what I'm getting from this. It is not clear that if you're like, I submitted my thing and then I noticed I had a typo, or so I went in and I clicked edit and I fixed the typo in my chapter 1 comment. My chapter 1 comment, I was like, hey, thanks for the likes, subscribes, and comments, but then I spelled comments wrong, so I changed it. I went in and I edited it and I fixed the word comments. It was spelled with 1 M and it needed 2 or something. Yeah, this does not cover that, in my personal opinion. You would have to read the FAQ to know that you're not allowed to edit that part. So just to be very, very clear, and we're going to look at this, here's the rules. That is located down here under section 3.2. If we go to 3.2, which is a hot topic item right now in the YouTube webtoon space, everybody's talking about 3.2. That's the language that we were just reading, right? We're talking about once a submission is uploaded and made available to view, any posting will be deemed. Wait a minute. That's not the part, but it's in, my goodness. I guess I'm going to have to literally slow down. I'm trying to be quick, but I think I need to literally slow down, and we need to really look at this like truthfully and patiently and boringly read this language the way it was meant to be read, okay? But I also, while we're at it, want to open the FAQ because we need to look at the two side by side. With the FAQ, let me make this one small note. FAQ is not required reading. So if we must come to the FAQ in order to learn down here on number 18, question number 18 on the FAQ, if we need to go to this area, the FAQ, to find out that you cannot update or edit your submission at all, like any updates, none, not even fixing how to spell the title, if you want to fix how to spell the title. That language, no, it cannot be updated or edited, only exists here in the FAQ, and the FAQ is not required reading. So where is this rule then in the actual rules, like in the actual required reading rules, the thing that you agree to when you like submit to this contest? To the best of anybody's knowledge, it's here in section 3.2. This has been what everybody has sort of pinpointed as the actual answer to this question. So let's go ahead and read it. I don't think we can tap dance around this anymore. Let's just read it. How to submit the webcomic and enter the contest. To enter the contest, eligible participants must publish the webcomic on the Canvas platform visiting the contest website link during the submission period, completing the registration form found on the website. Following on-screen instructions to submit the registration form and the webcomic, the registration form and webcomic are collectively referred to as the initial submission. Book a comment. No comment. Here's comment spelled with 1 M. Yeah, exactly. You can't fix it. Book a latte. Not allowed. It's just not allowed. You cannot go back and edit that. Limit 1 initial submission per participant. This is just talking about you can only submit 1 entry per genre. Here it is. Actually, this is it. This is the area. So I'm just going to continue reading. I was trying to jump ahead, but we're not jumping ahead. We're going to continue reading. All initial submissions must be received by the end of the submission period. The Webtoon website database clock will be the official timekeeper for the contest. No substitutions or new versions of initial submissions will be accepted once the original initial submission is submitted for consideration. Does this sound like I'm speaking Latin yet? To be safe, each participant should make certain that the participant's initial submission complies with these official rules before submitting it. Any initial submission that is considered by Webtoon in its discretion, here's that part I kept talking about. I was hammering this home earlier in the video. That is considered by Webtoon in its discretion to violate the submission requirements in whole or in part may be disqualified. Not guaranteed disqualification. It is based on Webtoon's discretion, whether or not they choose to disqualify you, whether you have violated the requirements in whole or in part, whole or partial violation. They may still choose not to disqualify you. So that is a relief. Just because you might have made a mistake doesn't mean that you're automatically disqualified. They can choose, after reviewing your situation, to conclude that it is not appropriate to disqualify you for that mistake. It was an honest mistake. And I think that's something that we're probably going to see at some point. It's definitely what happened to that winner of the 2022 contest who already told their story and explained that they had a very similar situation happen to them where they made a mistake that violated the rules, thought they were disqualified, and then ended up winning. They didn't get away with it. It's not like it slipped under the rug. Webtoon was fully aware that they made that mistake, but they contacted the winner and said, hey, we noticed you made this mistake. If you're willing to make this adjustment, we're willing to award you the win that you so obviously deserve. All right, so that said, nowhere in here was it super clear in the way that it is super clear here that you can update your submission. And I think the language is intentionally vague, as legalese often is, so that they have the flexibility to bend the rules as needed. And I think bending the rules as needed is not some kind of like evil Knievel thing. I think it's just so that they can humanize individual situations, because they understand that we're not all just machines doing like some kind of input code of ones and zeros. They understand that our situations are going to be complex. And I'm hoping that that's all this boils down to. But what can you do to protect yourself and your peace of mind in this case? Well, first and foremost, try not to fall into any of the pitfalls that any of the creators who have already expressed their anxiety and their concerns have fallen into. So, for instance, we have three basic situations here. One situation is the editing. Do not click the edit button. And by edit button, let me go ahead and open up another window, because I told you I would demonstrate. So, my mouse is like fighting me. It doesn't want to do what I want it to do. We're going to go here. We're going to go to Webtoon, and we're going to go to, oh, this is my dashboard. Perfect. So, when I say do not edit, there's an edit button. This says Webtoon Contest. This is my Webtoon Contest entry. Love Curse Queen of Rogues. If you appreciate me doing this stream, do me a favor and hit this contest, or hit this comic up. Give it a like, leave it a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing more. That is my little shameless plug for this video. I do appreciate it, you guys. Like anybody else, I just really hope that people will read and enjoy my story. And so the more people I can get it in front of, the better. But that said, just like with any other Canvas comic, like you see right over here, my comic Venerable, how I have an edit button, you also have an edit button on your Webtoon Contest entry. They have not grayed this out. They have not disabled it. If I click on it, no pop-up will pop up. I'm not going to self-incriminate and say that I've done that. What I will say is that, for the record, my chapter 1 every single pixel in my chapter is exactly where it was when I first submitted it. I have not changed a single pixel. I can say that. But what I know for a fact, and what many other creators have already discussed, is that if you click this, there is no pop-up, there are no guardrails, there's nothing to stop you from editing your contest entry. There's no warning to tell you that you're not allowed to do that. It's against the rules. So you have to you have to remember as the artist. And if you are a creator who's been doing this for a while, and I've been doing this for a while, coming into your dashboard and clicking this little edit button is so second nature. It is so second nature. I will do this mindlessly without even thinking. And I will go in and I will look at my my comics dashboard. So you gotta be so on your game. You have to be fully conscious and cognizant of what you're doing when you're in your dashboard, because it's so easy to make that mistake. Don't make that mistake, and you will be in a really good spot for this contest. If you have made that mistake, that doesn't mean throw in the towel and give up now. Keep going. Keep going. Keep making your comic. Keep uploading your chapters. Business as usual. Do not be deterred, because as we've already seen, it is not a hard and fast rule. It is a flexible rule, and they are going to take into consideration other things when deciding whether or not that rule violation, that mistake, is worth being disqualified or not. It is not an automatic disqualifier. Does anybody have any questions or anything you would like me to show you again, or that you would like to look at that maybe I haven't brought up during the stream? I'm honestly surprised I got through that in 38 minutes. I thought this was going to be like a really, take just so much longer to do. Maybe because I rushed through it because I'm really, really, really anxious and nervous to cover this topic. What I can show you, this is going to make me look so dumb, okay? I'll show you this other thing that I did, but it's going to make me look really, really dumb. I asked ChatGPT. So again, take it with a grain of salt. ChatGPT is not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. And I have not consulted my quote unquote lawyer, my sister-in-law. So I am just showing you, for kicks and giggles, okay, the ChatGPT answer to this question. I said, where, and I did this because I was very curious about why so many people on Reddit were saying the rules explicitly state that you are disqualified if you edit, because I don't see that anywhere in the rules. I just showed you the rules. It's not in the rules. It does not explicitly state that you will be disqualified if you click the edit button. It never mentions it. So I asked, where in the rules does it explicitly state that? And ChatGPT's answer, please do not cancel me for consulting ChatGPT. I did this just out of pure curiosity, okay? Pocolatte says ChatGPT is where I get all my Bitcoin advice from. Oh no, I'm just digging my hole deeper, aren't I? It said, according to 2025's Webtoon Contest Comic Legends FAQ, once your submission is uploaded, and again, that says FAQ, not required reading. Let's be clear. If the only place where this was made known to contestants was in the FAQ, then it is not adequate. Okay? The FAQ, once your submission is uploaded, it cannot be updated or edited. Participants are advised to ensure their submission meets all requirements before finalizing and submitting it, and it's sourcing webtoons.com as its source. Additionally, the 2025 Webtoon Contest Webcomic Legends official rules state that no substitutions or new versions of initial submissions will be accepted once the original initial submission is submitted for consideration. So, my next question, of course, then was, what constitutes a submission or new version? The answer I was given, so what does substitution or new version mean? Legally speaking, this is ChatGPT. It is not a lawyer. Let's make sure nobody forgets that, okay? ChatGPT is telling me this. It's known to be wrong, okay? It's been wrong before. but I just wanted to see what it would say. Legally speaking, these terms are often interpreted as substantial or material alterations to creative work. The purpose of this clause is to prevent contestants from gaming the system by submitting a placeholder and then swapping it out later for a significantly revised or completed version after the deadline. And I think what I find interesting about this too is the whole placeholder idea, which I didn't think about before. I'm thinking about it now. I've seen a handful of people submit cover art as their chapter 1 to the contest. And I was really curious about that because I couldn't figure out, like, is this okay? Are we allowed to do this? Are we not allowed to do this? Is it frowned upon? Is it encouraged? Is it against the rules? Is it not? I wasn't sure. So my personal thought on that would be, if you're not sure, don't do it. But if you already did do it, I'm not trying to scare you, because I have no idea how they feel about that. Maybe they'll just consider it kind of a prequel and just ignore it and read your first 3 chapters as your entry. I'm not sure because I don't work for Webtoon. But that could potentially be seen as submitting a placeholder to farm early views and then replacing it after the fact with the actual content. Now, I think if you're submitting a cover art and then you're submitting a chapter and you're not like editing the cover art, the chapter 1 quote, unquote, and removing the cover art and then replacing it with a chapter trying to fake that you submitted early, I think if you're not being like dishonest in that way, then they probably shouldn't. I don't imagine that they're going to be mad at you. But I don't know. I've never really talked to somebody that works at Webtoon. My only reason for asking this question is because I wanted to understand how we get from substitute or new version to no edits, period. That's my point in asking this question. How is it that a rule that says no substitutes or new versions, the official rules, no substitute, new version of initial submission will be accepted under any circumstance, how do we get from this to no edits to even the description box? Like, how do we get to no, don't edit the title, don't correct a typo? How do we get from substitution and new version to those like very extreme limitations? That was what I was trying to figure out here. And I know that I need to ask a real lawyer and not ask ChatGPT, but this was just quicker. So this is what we got for right now. And then here are some examples that it listed, that ChatGPT listed that it came up with. And it said uploading entirely new artwork might be considered new versions. Changing the core narrative or adding new scenes would be considered new versions. Swapping out a whole episode, which is something I had mentioned as a possibility. Or a complete visual overhaul, something like that. But this, according to the ChatGPT, which is not a lawyer, what it likely does not include is correcting typos or minor text edits, fixing missing words or spelling errors, minor visual touch-ups, fixing a speech bubble that overlaps or a coloring issue, correcting layering errors in an art asset, things like that. That's what ChatGPT thinks it doesn't mean. So if it is not clear in the rules to ChatGPT or to 50% of the contestants who have been entering that this rule that says substitution or new version also means you cannot edit, because ChatGPT literally thinks it means that editing is fine. It literally thinks it does not include fixing a missing word or correcting typos or fixing a botched file. Then how are we expected to also understand that without reading the FAQ? And I completely closed my window. Like I had already mentioned once, the FAQ is not required reading. So if you need the additional information in the FAQ in order to completely, to adequately inform contestants of what exactly you intended with that rule, then that rule is not substantial enough. And it would be a really big move, a really bold move for somebody if they were really feeling combative to actually try and challenge Webtoon on that, to be like, hey, you know, I feel like I was disqualified. First of all, you wouldn't know. They don't tell you. So then you would be running up a really high like legal bill on an assumption that you were maybe disqualified and you don't even know. But let's say that somebody did assume that. Or let's say somebody won, but then found out that they are ineligible for the monetary prize because of a technicality. So they win the contest, but they are not allowed to access the money because of, this is totally a, what do you call them? Like a made up scenario. This is completely hypothetical. That's the word I was looking for, hypothetical. So say you hypothetically win, but then they tell you, well, hey, technically you're disqualified because you edited your chapter back in week 1 of the contest. So we'll still crown you a winner, but we won't give you the money. If they were to do that, then maybe you would take this to court. I'm not a legal counsel, I'm not a lawyer, but you might have a little wiggle room, right? Because it's not substantial enough in the rules. It's deliberately vague to allow them the freedom to give you grace as a creator if you break the rule. But that same grace, you know, I don't want this to be a double-edged sword. I don't want to like pick on them for giving us this wiggle room and then have them tighten the leash and then all of us to be disqualified because they felt pressured by the community to make the rules more explicit. I don't want that. I don't want them to come down harder on us and to DQ half of the user base because they clicked the edit button. That's not what I'm after here. But what I'm saying is, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just brainstorming here. I shared with you guys the situation, what's up, the people who have been in contact with Webtoon, the people who have had their stories literally taken down because of some content violations. And we've gone over the rules and we've gone over the FAQ. I've given you guys my personal opinion on that, and we've looked at what past winners have said about how they allow wiggle room within the rules and why that whole may or may not be disqualified at Webtoon's discretion, like loophole even exist, is for our benefit. That's what I'm trying to say. So please, Webtoon, if you're watching this, do not get upset at me and then go and tighten the rules up and make it like airtight and DQ the rest of us. Like, please don't do that. We are just trying to understand the rules. We just are trying to do our best as entrants, and also trying to help each other out by spreading the word and hopefully preventing other creators from making the same mistakes or from making more mistakes. You know what the deal is. S&M, SM, there's no and. I don't know why I added and. And hello, welcome to the stream. Good to see you guys. I guess I have some catching up reading to do. It's not a pre-recorded stream. No, Sean, it's not. Pogalatte, it come to Perry for, oh my, I read that part, and no, don't do that. My wrestling name would be the Underthinker. You and I would be on opposite ends of the spectrum. Jay says, yeah, it feels hard to believe that they would DQ potential winners just because of a slight edit. I agree, and I don't think that they will. I truly believe that the wording of all of this has been handled the way it has in both the rules and in the emails from Webtoon staffers who are answering the inquiries in email. They have been deliberately vague on the may and may nots because I think they want to create as much padding as possible to give people the benefit of the doubt. Jay says, Pokolaji said, I will go ask Legal Eagle on his next video. Yeah, I mean, if you can get some actual legal advice, that'd be amazing. Please share with the rest of the class. J1K, hello, good to see you. Pixel Purity says, Pokolatte, yeah, my pixels are pure. I have not edited or swapped a single pixel on Love Curse Queen of Rogues. I am making that claim now, and I am being completely honest. In case anybody's wondering if I have changed the content of my chapter at all, The chapter itself is untouched. Pagate, ChatGPT is no. Talt low, how do I pronounce that? Is it like malt, like, or talt, like malt? Or is it tout? Like tout low. Do you think the censored profanity / nudity is also a case-by-case basis? Sorry if you already said, I missed the beginning of the stream. That's okay. It's okay to ask. I do at this point think it's a case-by-case basis because the creator who got taken down for that reason, I went to look for their content or for their comic because I was like, oh, that was like one of the popular ones. I wonder how they're doing. And I went and I looked it up and it's back in the contest. So I don't know if maybe they emailed them and contested it, if they made like an argument for it and they agreed to it and they let them back in, or if they just resubmitted. I'm not sure. But from an outside perspective, it looks like it might be flexible as well, so you might be okay. Talt, like malt is perfect, says Taltlo. Okay, thank you. I'm glad to know. I want to pronounce things correctly. It's so hard when you're a phonetic reader to say things right because so often things are not spelled the way they sound. Pogalate says, I will change all the dialogue to F-bomb right now right before I win and see what happens. Pogalate, taking one for the team. Appreciate you. Yeah, SM, I agree that I would be messed up if somebody made it that far and then got canceled. Or not canceled, but like DQ'd. Even at this point, like most of us have been working on these for months. If you got DQ'd now, that would be so painful. I would be very, very upset. Like, full transparency, I would be so upset if I was DQ'd right now because I have been working on this since January 9th. I marked my calendar when I started it. I started it on January 9th. And I am so excited about doing this project. I've been cutting no corners, putting my absolute best foot forward for this comic. And it's also like my baby. Like, this is the story. Like, I wrote Venerable. I've been doing Venerable as my pilot, kind of like my first project, because everybody says don't do your magnus opus, don't do your masterpiece as your first comic because you have a lot to learn, and it's true. You do have a lot to learn. You go through a lot of learning curves when you make your first comic. But after I mean, Venerable's not done yet. You can see the little pause button. It's technically on hiatus. It's not completed yet. But when I saw the contest banner, I just knew I wanted to enter, and I wanted to enter with this story. I feel like I've spent enough years kind of like doing the learning, and now I wanted to apply what I learned to my masterpiece, my big story that I've been wanting to tell. So that's what this is. And if that makes you curious at all, please check it out, because I really have been working on this story for literally years. And also you can learn more about, like, even after you read chapter 1, chapter 2 will be up soon, because I don't know if you guys saw early on in the stream, but Arbreaker was talking about doing the flats for the rest of chapter 2. I just passed her like the second half of the chapter yesterday, so she's like coloring it up. We're gonna be ready to post, I think. Honestly, at this rate, I think we're going to be ready before my scheduled post date. So who knows? It could come out sooner than expected. But if you enjoyed the first chapter, or you enjoyed both the first and the second, I don't know when you're watching this, but if you've read both, or, you know, just either or, gosh, I'm making this so extra complicated for no reason. What I'm trying to say is, you can always come to my creator page and follow me here, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be posting over here on my creator page. And if you are also a creator, especially in this contest, and you're not using your creator page, why? Why wouldn't you want to do this? I'm not saying that you're going to get an explosive amount of engagement. I'm really not getting an explosive amount of engagement. I've got like a couple of reactions down here for this one. I always react to my own stuff, by the way, because I know that sometimes people are shy and don't want to be the first one. So I will be my own biggest fan, and I will react first to all my own stuff, and they let you. They're not stopping you. Just like YouTube's not going to stop you from liking your own video. So if you make videos and you have 0 likes, why? Be your biggest supporter. Be your own biggest supporter. Like your own video. It's okay. Put a little heart on your own post when you post on your creator page. And the reason why I say this is because people are shy. Nobody wants to be, well, maybe not nobody, but most people don't want to be the first responder. They don't want to be perceived any kind of way. They don't want to be judged for how they responded if they're the first responder. A lot of times people want to see what other people are doing to kind of like acclimate and blend in, right? So if you set the bar, you go ahead and take that anxiety away. You be the first reactor. Other people don't have to feel weird about deciding how to be the first reactor. Okay, so that was a point that I didn't expect to have to make. So I got a little bit sidetracked. But what I was trying to tell you is that for my contest entry, and even before this contest, I was posting content. There's a little sneak peek of chapter 2, by the way. I was posting content for my other story, Venerable. So come in here, follow me, get all of these fun little goodies, the extras in between updates, and let's stay connected and stay engaged. Hello, Sean. How are you doing? Buskers always toss the first dollar in the hat. Buskers? What is buskers? You mean like when people are playing on this, like maybe like playing or singing on the street or something? Is that a busker? I've never heard that word before. That's interesting. But yeah, it makes sense. Like you want to like set the example. So if you're going to like perform live and you want tips and you're putting out a tip jar or you're turning a hat upside down as a tip jar and you want people to know that that's what it's for, put some money in it. Yeah, it makes total sense. Busker is street performer. Got it. Yeah. So if you're a street performer, you prime your tip jar. If you're a creator, prime your reactions. Make sure you're liking your own videos. Make sure that you're liking your own post. You want to be the primer, okay? Set the example. Don't wait for somebody else to do it for you. You're expecting too much labor from other people to make that decision, to decide what the standard's going to be. Don't do that because people are shy. And they don't always know, like, oh, like if I posted something, I don't know, let's scroll up. Like, I don't know, say I posted something and they're like, I don't know if that was supposed to be funny or if they were serious, and they want to like put a little laugh emoji, but maybe they're not sure if that's appropriate. Well, if you did it first, then they're going to feel fine doing it. So just like that, that's kind of like the example there. I hope I've provided a lot of value for you guys on this stream. I hope that my breakdown, even if it was messy, even if a lot of it was stream of thought and we had to like really work our way through my list of screenshots and the FAQ and the rules, and even consulting ChatGPT. I really hope that all of this has been helpful to you guys. I also would like to drop a link real quick, and I guess I'll pick this one since we're right here on this page. I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys, okay? So that you guys can visit this page and follow my profile, and even better, click on Love Curse Queen of Rogues. Check it out. Subscribe and leave me a comment to let me know that you saw it and that you were at this stream, and either you think that my response to all the rules information and drama and stuff going on is total baloney, or if you think that it was helpful. I mean, you can totally tell me that here in chat or on the comment of the video. But I would love for you guys to check out my comic, all joking aside. So please do. Hello, Derp Seafish. Hi. I finally catch one of your streams live. I'm so glad you did. Welcome to the stream. We've basically gone over everything that we wanted to content-wise for the topic of this video. So if you are still interested in the topic, make sure to hit the replay button right after we sign off, because I am essentially done. I need to go draw, you guys. I've got to finish chapter 2 so we can get this posted. I'm like 6 panels left. A whole 6 panels left to draw. And then all of it's on Artbreaker, who's in the chat, Artbreaker the colorist, to make it just glow and be beautiful and stunning. And hopefully Oh, by the way, I've seen so many comments. Actually, before we do go, I do want to address something real quick. Let's go to the comments, okay? Incoming comments. This is like a plugin or something that you can install. It's not native to Webtoon, just FYI. And you get that from this person. Pause or take a screenshot if you need to get this information in order to get this plugin. But I've been seeing so many comments about this. The heart-shaped highlights in her hair, or in all of their hair, really. The most popular comment, I think, has been about the highlights. The style, the art style, and the highlights especially are such a huge hit. I really hope you guys will check it out. And if you enjoy those, give those comments some thumbs up, some love, some reinforcement to just let Artbreaker know how much you appreciate her handiwork, because that feature, these gorgeous highlights that everybody is losing their freaking minds over, that is all Artbreaker. So yeah, we've got that cute heart-shaped highlights here from She's So Drama, who also has a really great comic and YouTube channel. Check her out. Let's see, what else? I'm gonna just keep scrolling because I want to find more. I promise you these comments exist. I'm not making it up. Yeah, right here. Cam said, I absolutely love the way you drew the highlights in the hair. Thank you. That's all my colorist. So all the love and support to my colorist for sure. Yeah, that you're gonna have to, if you want to know who this person thinks is not dead, you're gonna have to read it for yourself. But for sure, let's check out this. I promise you there are more comments about the hair. This one, oh, did I scroll too far? It's okay, we're gonna keep scrolling. This is the colorist actually right here. This is Jazz. So Jazz Young is Artbreaker, FYI, for anybody who did not know. So her comment is also left on the chapter. All right, that is really everything. I'm gonna read your comments real quick and then we are gonna literally wrap it up. So Derpsy Fish says, yeah, I'll watch it afterwards. Good luck. Thank you very much. Really liked episode 1, by the way. I appreciate that. And you can't wait for chapter 2. It is coming. We are almost done. We are ahead of schedule. In fact, I'm so excited about that. So I cannot wait to share it with you guys. Pogalatte, thanks for the stream. All this DQ talk is making me go to Dairy Queen. I haven't seen a Dairy Queen in forever. I don't know if we have that out here where I live now, but I used to live near one. DQ is so good, but we have options. We have options. All right, you guys, that's it. I appreciate you being here. I hope I dropped some valuable information or at least prompted some good brainstorming and think tanking. Support each other. Support my comic, but support each other's comics, and join the Discord if you want to know what other comics are posted in this community so that we can all kind of like build each other up and continue this very, very, very community-centric activity. I really do appreciate you being here. Hello. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Malt. Okay, Taltalo, Pogalatte, Derpsy Fish. I appreciate you, SM. Thank you so much for coming. Pogalatte, I already said Pogalatte. I'm trying to quickly read up through the chat to see who else has attended. Artbreaker, of course. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the colors. I know you're working on those the whole time I was streaming. And yeah, that's everything. I will see you guys next time. Bye.